What's up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about how to scale the handstand walk. So this movement can be a little bit intimidating for some people when they get started. So just rest assured, we have a spot for everybody when they're doing handstand walks, even down to just holding a plank if you're not able to get upside down. For those of you that want to work into handstand walks, this is how we start it. So we're going to start with a wall-facing hold. All you're going to do is place your hands on the ground. We're going to keep our hips really high. And then I'm going to step 1 foot up, and then 2 foot up, and I'm just gonna hold this position. Over time, once you can hold it for a little longer, you can spread your feet out just a little bit and start wagging your hips back and forth and pulling the palms of your hands off the ground. So we're just shifting our weight and letting the palms come off the ground. If that's a little bit intimidating for you, we can always start on the box. Same type of motion, but our feet are on the box now. We wanna get our hips as high as possible. And we're gonna hold this, and then we can also work on shifting the hips and tick-tocking the hands. All right, once you get really good at the wall-facing holds, we're gonna learn how to kick up to the wall. All right, when we're ready to start working into our kick-ups on the wall, we start with mats underneath our head. Just for safety purposes, we wanna make sure that the elbows stay locked out through this movement. Sometimes when people kick up to the wall, they get a little scared and they automatically wanna bend their elbows. Huge no-no, make sure those elbows stay straight. So we're not gonna kick up all the way yet, we're just gonna work on keeping those elbows straight. The other thing is hand placement. You wanna make sure your hands are back here by the corners of the mat. We don't want them close to the wall, otherwise you're not gonna have leverage and you won't stay on the wall. So make sure that they're back here next to these corners. And when we first start doing this movement, I'm not actually kicking up all the way. All I'm doing, I'm starting with my hips high, I want my shoulder over the top of my wrist, and I'm just gonna be pulling with this leg and pushing with this leg and trying to get my feet to meet in the air. It looks like this. Okay? Kick. Once I can do that movement well, I'm gonna try and tap the wall with my right leg only. Again, I'm focusing on keeping my elbows locked out. If I get that movement well, then now I'm gonna try and meet my feet at the top. Okay, so I'm tap, tap. There we go. All right, once you can do the tap, tap with both feet on the wall, now you're ready to kick up all the way. So we wanna keep our legs straight at this point instead of bent and try and go ahead and kick to the wall. Looks like this. Start here. At the top, we're gonna point our toes. Quads are tight. The only thing that's touching the wall is my heels. My head's gonna come back through the window, and I'm gonna be looking up at the ceiling on the other side of the gym. That's my handstand hold. All right, guys, once you're fairly confident kicking up to the wall, now we're gonna work on tick-tocks and then walk to the wall. So I'm gonna demonstrate that as well. I'm gonna just kick up to the wall, widen my feet just a little bit, and then I'm gonna start to wag my hips back and forth, just slightly. When I do that, I'm transferring my weight from one hand to the next, so now I can start picking my hands up off the ground. All right, when you're able to get that movement, we like to teach people in the beginning to kind of walk like stiff-legged, so stiff-armed, not a ton of bend through the elbow. That will come over time, but in the beginning, we really want you to learn how to engage your shoulders, so we start there. Once you have that well and you're fairly confident, we're gonna try walking to the wall with 1 foot on the wall. So this is gonna require you to back off the wall a little bit. When I kick up, instead of my hands being about right here, now my hands are gonna start back here. I'm gonna reach 1 foot to the wall, and I'm gonna try and take 2 small steps to the wall. Looks like this. So I'm still able to use my foot to kind of balance myself, and I can focus on just stepping to the wall. Next, we're gonna be going out to the floor, and we'll show you how we progress from there. All right, guys, once we've perfected the wall, we're gonna come off onto the floor. And just a side note, when you guys are kicking up to the wall, you do need to practice very lightly tapping the wall as you go up, because if you kick up hard, same thing's gonna translate on the floor, and you need to know how to kick up and just barely kiss the wall in order to make sure you're not flipping over backwards. So we do use the crash mat when we get started with these, just in case people fall over backwards. But ideally, we want them to learn how to kind of cartwheel out of the movement. I'm gonna have them stand in front of the mat, act like it's the wall. We're gonna kick up, and then hopefully they're gonna turn out of it. If not, they're just gonna kind of fall onto the mat. It looks like this. Kick up, turn out, just like so. So we want them to not hit the mat, but if they do, not a big deal. So over time, we want them to kick up and hold a little bit longer. So hopefully they can kick up, hold, come back down. Do that several times until they can hold that position. Once they're better at that, we can step them back a little bit, and we're gonna walk to the mat. So it looks like this. I'm gonna come back off, and then I'm gonna kick up, step, step, step. And if I need to roll out, I can roll out, or I can cartwheel off. Sometimes in the beginning, if they know that they have a target that they can roll out to, it's a little easier for them to get that momentum. Over time, once they've worked a couple feet, you can work them back even further, and so on, until they're able to walk lengths without using the mat. All right, guys, for the wall walks, the standard for CrossFit, there's gonna be a piece of tape that's about 10 inches from the wall, and then one out here kind of where your shoulder lies, and your hands are gonna have to walk their way back to the tape and then come all the way back out. For purposes of today, I'm gonna show you just kind of the basic mechanics of it and then how to scale the wall walk. So you're gonna be starting in your push-up position, like so. The tape is gonna be about right here. I'm going to push up into a push-up on my knees. Now from here, I'm gonna push my hips up, go into a downward dog position. Then I'm gonna step 1 foot, 2 foot. I'm gonna widen my feet out just a little bit so I get good balance. And then from here, I wanna try and keep my arms pretty stiff as I'm wagging my hips to come back. Okay, so I'm coming back to the tape and then coming back out. If you notice, I don't bend my elbows a whole lot. Now, I have to get my hands back out to the tape before my feet come down, and then I finish in this position here. Now, if you're scaling this movement, all you'll need to do is walk back 10 inches to a piece of tape that'll be about right here. So it looks the same, but again, guys, the start position, you're gonna be a knee push up here, then hips up, downward dog, 1 step, 2 step, widen those feet slightly, start shifting the hips, so you can pick those hands up off the ground, walk back to the tape for the scaled, walk back out, bring the feet down, finish in this position. All right, when you're learning this movement, guys, it's really important that you kind of walk through your shoulders and not try and pull through your elbows. It does help widening those feet, making sure those hips are kind of wagging back and forth so you can get your hands off the ground.